Because Jody's gonna be late, she's having problems, having issues with Chartiers.
Okay.
Okay, with that, we are a quorum.
Oh, okay.
So. Kathy Gilmore here,
Yes.
Jody's absent for the moment, I'm here, Bob's here, and Terry's here. First thing we have to do is discuss the minutes from the last meeting, a little sketchy. There wasn't any comments about what we did to zoning.
Oh, I just used the agenda from then. Well, we don't pass.
Does anybody have a problem with the minutes from the last meeting at the moment?
I feel that no action taken should be added to number 4, so that down the road, it's just not blank. It says we took no action as far as the motion goes.
I think I actually overlooked putting that on there. I think I have it on my notes. You know, I think I left them on my desk. Sorry about that.
So, with that revision, can we approve the minutes?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
Yeah. Have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, vote, Kathy?
Yes.
Again, Jody's not here. I vote yes, Bob, yes. Jerry, yes. Passed. Second is old business. Mr. Teagarden here is here tonight to present his subdivision. We had a couple questions, Mike, but particularly about the sepia. We got that straightened out with your engineer. We understand why that's not here with us. Does anyone have any questions? I've reviewed this, Bob's reviewed it, Kathy reviewed it.
Can I see it? Can I see it?
Oh, I thought, I was surprised that when you come in today, you didn't get a chance to take a look at it.
On the application, I saw for a driveway, are you putting another driveway in? Because that's what it said on the paper.
I don't know why that was even in there. There's 2 existing driveways.
That's what I thought.
One for each house.
Okay.
The upper ones for the upper house, and lower driveways for the garage, and the house that just was built last year.
Should the subdivision not been before the house was built? The second house?
Yeah, it didn't really need to be.
Who is it going to, it's going from you to who? Or is it still on you?
You stay in mine.
Oh, well, that's what doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's public sewer, right?
Mhm. Sewer and water.
Well, we don't care about water here. Sewer. Jeez, you put these both sides, I was gonna use the back of that.
two of those copies were signed by Washington County. Never usually do it, Jerry?
You do all different numbers depending on who the engineer is and what all's here and what all Keith got like signing.
Well, once it gets through the supervisor, then it'll go final draft, and the CPO will come back to us to sign into secret, Mylar, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Any other, or do I have a motion to accept the subdivision as it is then?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? How do you vote? Kathy?
Yes.
I vote yes. Bob?
Yes.
Yes.
Pass the background, we'll go ahead and sign, Jerry, pass it around.
Why isn't the Mylar here?
Pardon me?
Why isn't the Mylar here? I missed the-
They don't
Because,
make it up until everything's all decided. If you have any revisions to make to that, then they would have to redraw it, so.
it actually makes
If you
more sense.
approve it, then they'll take to them, warrant, tell them it's approved, and they'll take the Mylar to the county commissioners, they'll have it signed, and then it'll come here. I'll sign it, my wife will sign it, and you'll have it.
Well, we only can decide two of those for copies here. I mean, unless he wants, how many, well, once you get the
I have.
Mylar and when we sign it, you can make copies of it with all the
Yeah.
signatures on it.
So we just want to sign.
Everything you have there, I have copied that already anyway, so that's all for you to keep. Same with the Mylar, you'll get that, the engineers will sign it, county commissioners will sign it, then my wife and I, and then you'll have that.
Move the ground.
It's like buying a car, you'll just keep signing your name. Sign your name.
I like it, that's on your name.
Then if you get a line, you'll go sign it. Engelhard.
I'll just sign two of them.
We got a lot of help and most people out here.
Is Bob Frazier here? Hey, Bob, you want to do your presentation, please?
This will help. Hi. I want to put up a replica of Rice's fort. You know what that was? It's from back in the 1750 to 1790, somewhere around there. What do you want to know?
This is a temporary structure, permanent
No,
structure?
permanent.
Permanent structure. What kind of foundation you gonna put down? Just a dirt floor and post,
Wood,
wood floor?
wood floor, logs, made out of logs. Just like it looks there.
How big are each one of these towers?
Each one is 12 by 12,
12 by 12?
12 foot by 12 foot,
And 2 stories high?
2 stories.
And I understand that McGuffey, people with McGuffey Park are very excited about having this done.
Yeah, yeah,
Very much
they're
behind.
agreed. And the borough,
Does anybody have any safety issues with it? Do you see that, I mean, it's a 12 by 12 structure made out of what?
logs.
Logs, so.
So that shows windows,
Yeah.
but there was no windows in it when it was a fort. Yeah, it got used later on for something else, and somebody put the windows in. There were shooting ports,
Yeah, you know,
pretty
saying,
small,
there must be shooting ports there of some sort.
yes. No stairs to get to the upper floor. No stairs inside or out. There's a little bit of a catwalk, whether we do that or not. And they had a ladder to get to that catwalk to get to the second floor.
About as permanent as it could be.
Yeah.
So I guess my only question is here, from the standpoint of liability, if somebody was up in there was to follow this from the second floor somehow.
Nobody in the public's gonna be on the second floor.
Okay,
Once a year, they're gonna use it for a reenactment, during the Bridge Festival.
right.
There'll be some reenactors there. Other than that, no way to get to it. And I can fence it off. There'll be a door on the first floor on each building. And I can fence that off right across the back. Doors won't be there, it'll be inside.
Inside the fence.
Chain link fence or whatever, to
Keep the kids out and
keep
farm.
kids out, the barns out.
Indian now, right?
And yes, it's meant to keep the Indians out.
Where's this been, at the McGuffin Park? If you ever been there during the Bridge Festival, they put that reenactment on back there in the back corner.
Okay, so you're gonna put this in the park?
You know where in the park, I've got a map.
Henry does that, remember? They revoked the permit. Yeah.
It's here in the
Has there
back.
been an application for it?
Got an application.
Okay, so you guys have seen the formal application?
Yeah.
No, I haven't, I just got it right now, so
Yeah. It's
So this is just preliminary?
Yeah.
you want the application and stuff. Okay, here's the one that's got the sizes.
How do you model it, is this?
That one. We got it filled out there.
I think probably.
The rest of it's just your information on how to fill out the permit.
So who owns the property, the school or the
No,
park?
it's.
Clayton Borough.
Cleveland Borough.
Okay, but
There'll be no electricity,
it's owned by the borough.
but it's controlled by.
It's in Donegal.
I like the story of
Mountain Falls. Mountain Falls.
So we're having, it's within your jurisdiction. Okay, that's fine. It is, yeah. That's, from a liability standpoint, just, even if you waive the fees or anything, for different use, I just wanna make sure that that application, they go through the proper process, so that, not saying it's not gonna get built to specs or something that happens, you wanna have a full application, segment on how, showing that, what they propose to do, they submitted that, and
And that's why we asked Bob to come here today with this drawing, with this map, and with the permit.
and then will the building inspector, the township building inspector will ultimately oversee, will have to be permit, correct?
I don't know.
It's enclosed, I would assume it falls under a building.
Well, that's what my questions was, from the standpoint of, topic of something on this second.
Yeah, I mean, I think that has to be, you can give preliminary approval for what they plan to do up there, but when they actually go in there and put the buildings up, that's gotta have to be inspected by the building inspector.
See what you understand what you're saying about?
Will that be by the building code from 1770?
Good question.
Probably.
Yes. Again, unfortunately, humans are not capable of looking at things and being safe among ourselves. we're the worst beings on this earth when it comes to looking on the next page to see what might happen or might not happen.
Whether the township waives those fees or not, because it's, you know, for public use, that's up to them. But they need to.
There'll be
that's
people
gonna-
when they do the reenactment.
So this approval will just be preliminary, obviously. They can't put those up until they contact the building.
I could meet with the building inspector anytime, answer any questions. he
You can
has.
set that up through Tammy, the building inspector, correct?
I mean, is this time sensitive?
Well, when's the Bridge Festival?
Weekend, third weekend September.
So that's begun before the third weekend in September.
Yeah, I mean, again, just from a township standpoint, I would say this is likely to be, without looking at this and without going through all this, I would tend to think that this is an incomplete application. You know, not saying that it's not gonna be, but I'm gonna guess you need to actually see a site plan, not just that, to see the location of where that's going to be on the property. You know, to have that reviewed, I would have it reviewed by the building code inspectors to make sure that it meets all your different regulations under subdivision and land development here. So my recommendation would be that it's incomplete, you have to take it and review it, since it's just being presented today, before taking action on it.
So what we'll do is, Bob, we'll hold it here, we'll get hold of the code inspector, and the building inspector, and all parties concerned, we'll get together and go take a look at it, okay? And we'll do that as quick as we can, hopefully to get you set up for next month,
Okay.
okay? I mean, I think it's a great idea too, I'm always for anything that, you know, has to serve the public, but we still have to make sure we cross all the Ts and dot all the Is. Does anyone else have anything to say? Kathy, Jody, Jerry, and Bob? Do you have another copy of your map, Bob? Can we keep this?
Yes, that's yours.
Oh, he just brought this with him, never mind. Just put it all together, Jerry. Here you go. So on that item, we'll meet with the inspector and code inspector and set up site inspections. Is Mr. Anderson here? There you
Yes,
are.
yes.
On Mike's application, code enforcement officer, Mark Gordon, based on ordinance 110, land subdivision ordinance supplement 10-22, section D1A, the formula used in the ordinance would require an equal distance from the center of the road to the structure. Therefore, a 30-foot right-of-way would require 30 foot from the center of the road to the structure, or a 15-foot frontage which, based on Mr. Anderson's drawing, he will be in excess of the necessary frontage. Additionally, the proposed structure is uniform with the other structures on Tunnel Street in regards to setbacks. I see no adverse impact from the proposed structure as is indicated in the plans. I recommend approval of the proposed structure as described in the plans submitted with the informational permit. The owner must contact Donington Township office and obtain a driveway permit to access the township road. Respectfully, Mark Gordon. So, pretty cut and dry.
Okay.
No problem, all right. Any other comments, any other discussion? Anyone want to read this? Motion to accept information from the code supervisor?
Yeah.
Your motion is to approve based on the recommendation.
How do you vote? Kevin?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I vote yes, Bob? Yes. And Jerry? Next item here is comments from Donington Township Supervisor Dave Ely. Dave asked to be put on the agenda. He has some comments about range storage tanks and driveway permits. Go ahead, Dave.
At the last planning commission meeting, there seems to be some confusion of why Range was able to do what they did, and I think they explained themselves at our township meeting. There was also a question of the driveway permit. Michael also said at the planning commission meeting that the driveway permit was approved, which exactly was approved. Driveway permits do not require to go before the planning commission, nor do they require board approval. It's been like that ever since I've been a supervisor, even before. The applicant fills out an application, meets with the road department employee at the site. It happened to be Ed Crashbar. He told them exactly what they needed to do. They put the culvert pipe in, put the driveway in, did his recommendations, and they got their driveway permit. I know some was saying, or some was thinking there was some kind of secret meeting. Absolutely not. It does not require no board action. And I get one question, if I could ask Lee. At the last planning commission meeting, Jerry Zwicker, I believe, said that all land development should go before the planning commission. Is that correct, Jerry?
I read it from our ordinance.
Did the car wash go before the planning commission?
Did what?
The car wash, Clayville car wash?
I don't recall that it did.
It's real interesting that we are on Range and we're on Northwest, West and Columbia to do the right things all the time. And it just blows my mind how the car wash did not have to come through the planning commission. And then not only that, whenever it's taking up capacity in the public water system.
Is that on the Clayville water system or on?
Clayville.
It's on Clayville, so it's on United Water? I don't know. I have no answer because before my time.
Isn't that in the borough? No, it's not.
Yep.
It's in the township. It's in, okay, one thing I'm confused over. It's in the township, but yet it gets water from
That's
places.
the American water.
American water. How far out
Water
there?
and sewer service. That's both water and sewer service. From Pennsylvania.
How far out does water and sewer extend to places?
For the rest area,
To the rest of
for
it?
what we're saying.
Just curious, not anything else.
I think water and sewer both
Not to reverse it, but to reverse it, that sounds like something that the supervisor should do.
You can't, it's a public,
Pardon?
that's a public utility. They're.
I don't care about the utility part of it, I'm worrying about where was the building permits?
Oh,
How it got approved to be built in the first place.
I don't know if that was my question. Thank you.
I'm flat, I don't know.
What did Jody say?
he just asked, was it
I just asked, I didn't know what the timeline was involving that.
It was just opened recently. And just built it a little bit in 2016 and finished in 2017. I don't know.
Well, but just to clarify a little further, didn't Range say, didn't you guys say Range didn't have to come because they didn't subdivide?
Well, again, I tried to clarify at the end, if you look at your subdivision land development ordinance, and you go to jurisdiction, 110-3 jurisdiction, the planning commission shall have jurisdiction and control of the subdivision of land and land development located within the township. So then if you go to definitions, and you look at what, obviously subdivision, we know what a subdivision is, which we just dealt with, or land development. Land development is defined as the improvement of one lot or two or more contiguous lots, tracts or parcels of land for any purpose involving a group or two or more buildings, which this does not, because my understanding is that the reason why the Columbia compressor station was triggered and they had to come here is because it's an actual building. Again, not to get technical, because I'm not an engineer, I'm not a building code enforcement, but the fact that that's an actually enclosed structure, that triggers a building, which then triggers this subdivision land development. The structures that are going up there at range, it's not a subdivision, and those are open air tanks, not enclosed tanks, therefore they're not buildings, they would not fall under this definition. That's why their approval does not have to come in front of
Right, so our,
the
by our
planning.
definition, that doesn't
Correct,
define
that
land
is-
development.
and that's why,
development.
and that would be, that's the difference to why we just had the compressor station, they did have to come, it's enclosed, or someone that's doing a subdivision. My understanding is Range did not subdivide that property, and those buildings that they proposed to put up there are not built, they're tanks, they're not buildings, that's why they do not. They were doing some grading work that triggered the driveway permit, and, again, like I said last month, I'm not familiar with that process, but apparently that does not come in front of you either. So that would be why Range did not have to come in here, and why Columbia had to, the month prior to that, for their actions. As far as the car wash, I'm not familiar with that. It would make sense to me that they would have to come in front of here, because that would seemingly be a building, but I'm not familiar enough with the facts of that.
Although it's open also though, if the tanks, the car wash that is open, I mean, is it, because it's a shell, is that,
I don't know,
bigger definitions need
Should
changed.
say, yeah, the definition of the building.
Yeah, it's not occupied
Do you think
facility.
that would be kind of self-explanatory?
You would think, no, we don't have setback, we don't have setback.
we don't have one.
I mean, I don't know, it doesn't matter to me how we define it. Just saying. you're not-
What's the, I don't want to say punishment if you don't get a building permit? What's the consequence?
Prison.
Execution.
No, I mean, I think the township could, if, again, not saying that they are in violation, don't know enough about it, if they're found to be, I believe.
Well, generally, I think you don't get a occupancy permit, right?
Yes.
Since nobody actually occupies the building, I think that might be a little.
Code states that they don't need
Go ahead, Mr. Stewart.
My question was, does the township actually authorize or issue a driveway permit on a state road? State does that.
State does that, yes.
So there's already existing driveway there from the previous property owner?
That state issue.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, if there was already a driveway there and they were using the same driveway,
So the state did issue a permit.
they have to reissue a permit.
I have a question. I understand there's quite a water problem up there. Since nothing, at the car wash, since nothing came before the planning commission or the supervisors, is the township gonna be held responsible?
What
If
what do you
anything
mean by
happens up there?
what do you mean by water problem?
Again, I don't know what you mean by held.
Water's coming out all
If
over
the township approved something and it was
That's
improper, yeah, there's nothing in front of the township. Again, so I don't know enough about this to say if the township's gonna be liable, or if this person did that illegally, or what actions can be taken. I think we'll go tomorrow and get information. I'll contact Tammy. We'll get as much on the file to look to see what steps were necessary, what steps were taken, and to go from there. I'm not familiar enough with that.
Can I ask a question about that? When you do that, are you just like on township retainer, or how does that work?
Yes.
Is that what, okay, just wondering.
And again, if our office does not, again, if, I will make the call to Tammy tomorrow to ask for that, to look at. If they designate that it's in the hands of someone else, then we won't look into that. I'm not gonna just go look into that, it's being brought up now as to why they didn't come in front of the planning commission. So I'm I'm gonna go back tomorrow and look for an answer.
So, but if someone, so now there's a water problem and supposedly you're now saying that they don't have a permit. If they do have a permit, people are gonna, will you make
I don't
that
know if they
public?
have a permit.
I know,
don't
but if they do have a permit, will that be made public as opposed to just,
It would be public record,
okay.
but I don't know where that's at.
Okay. Any further comment?
Go ahead, she had her hand up first.
Go ahead, Pam.
Pam Kinski from out on Dry Ridge. Now, when it was being built, you know, whatever's being built, okay. When they had the water drainage problem there where the state had to come in and redo that culvert, I believe. I got stopped a couple times there by big equipment and mud and slop. But I did contact, or not contact, but talk to a gentleman that seemed to be of authority there. And I said, what happened here? What, you know, something get clogged up? And he said, well, the car wash attached into the main culvert line. He's not in the sewage line. He's in the main culvert line. He put stone all down through there and clogged it. Now they had to separate that out, and if you notice, it's still kind of open. The water's supposed to be running down through that valley, that ravine, from the drainage from that car wash. It's not in a sewage line.
So it doesn't sound like there's ever any environmental
So, but
impact or
I, like I said, I just had a quick conversation a couple times with persons of, seemed to be authority, that knew what they were gonna do to fix that culvert thing there.
Sounds like it can get pretty interesting. JD.
I don't know which water, Kathy, when you say a water problem, anytime I've been through there,
There's a spring
the water is coming out of the bank across the road.
from the spring.
It doesn't go uphill from the car wash.
Right.
It's coming out of the bank, down over the hill, and coming out of the ground. So if that's a state road, I would imagine that's a state problem, and they need to do something.